Hey everyone, and welcome back for another deep dive. Today we're going to be taking a look at, I think, a really fascinating painting.
Okay.
By the Dallas artist Humberto Adan. And this one, it really struck me. Just the visual impact is so strong. You've got this child,
Right.
small child, but they're wearing this like really vibrant luchador mask.
Okay.
And they're standing on top of a car. And behind them is this whole like urban landscape.
Oh, wow.
So I think there's so much to unpack here
I can't wait.
in terms of like symbolism
Yeah.
and meaning and stuff. And so I'd love to hear your thoughts.
Absolutely. I think the first thing that jumps out at me is the luchador mask.
Yeah.
And you know, in Mexico, the luchador mask it's a really big deal. It represents strength.
Okay.
It represents heroes, dreams even. And so to see it on this child
Yeah.
creates this really interesting tension.
Yeah.
Because it's like the symbol of adulthood. But placed on someone so young, it suggests this yearning for the power and responsibility that comes with adulthood, but layered onto this,
Right.
innocence of childhood.
Right.
It makes me think of how we all sort of wear different masks throughout our lives.
Yeah.
As we grow up, we take on different roles, face different challenges. And so this painting kind of captures that feeling of like trying on different identities
Right.
as we figure out who we are.
I love that because it's like they're trying on the identity of a luchador,
Yeah,
of a hero, but they're still figuring out like who they are beneath that mask.
it's exactly.
Yeah.
And that idea is further emphasized by the child's pose. They're standing on top of the car, this small figure against this sprawling city, and it suggests this readiness to
Yeah.
face the world, even if they haven't quite reached their full potential yet.
Right. Yeah. And speaking of the car, I mean, it's not just any car. It's
Right.
smack dab in the middle of this urban environment.
Yeah.
What do you think the significance of that is?
Well, I think the car, especially in a city, represents freedom.
Okay.
Mobility. It's a way to get around, to move forward, to achieve your goals. And so by putting the child on top of it, Adan is elevating them,
Okay.
giving them this sense of control and power over their journey.
That's really interesting. And it makes me think back to what we were talking about earlier about like ambition. Because the mask represents this
Yeah.
desire to be powerful
Yeah.
and heroic, and the car kind of gives them the means
Right.
to chase after those dreams.
I totally agree.
Yeah.
It's all connected. And we can't forget the backdrop of those urban buildings.
Yeah.
They're not just scenery. They represent the world
Okay.
that this child is about to enter with all its, complexities and possibilities. It's kind of a nod to the realities of
Right.
growing up in a city environment,
Yeah.
surrounded by concrete and hustle and bustle, but still reaching for something more.
There's a real sense of contrast, I think, throughout this whole painting. Because on the one hand, you have this child who's a symbol of innocence
Yeah.
and vulnerability. But on the other hand, they're wearing this powerful mask.
Right.
And they're standing on top of this car, like ready to take on the world.
Exactly. And I think that's what makes Adan's work so compelling. He captures these complex emotions of childhood, the hope, the uncertainty, the determination, and presents them in a way
Yeah.
that resonates with all of us.
It really makes you think about like those defining moments in your own life when you were faced with a challenge.
Yeah,
And how did you confront it? What mask did you wear?
absolutely. I think that's what Adan wants us to take away from this painting. The sense of our own resilience,
Okay.
our own capacity for growth and change. It reminds us that even though we may be small, in the face of life's challenges, we all have the potential to rise above them and achieve our dreams.
That's a really beautiful way to put it. I think this has been a fascinating deep dive into symbolism and identity and the human spirit. It definitely leaves me with a lot to think about. The masks that we wear, the dreams we chase,
Yeah.
and the journeys that we all take to become who we are. So thank you so much for joining me for this one,
Oh, thank you for having me.
and we'll see you next time for another deep dive.
Sounds great. They have a good...